Delta Fly Outdoors, a podcast brought to you by Julius. In today's episode, we have members of Elevated Outdoors, Justin and Jay. So we're going to be going over what they do and what their company is and what brought it about. And hey guys, how are y'all doing?
Good, Julius. How are you?
Doing good. One of y'all, whichever one of y'all wants to go first.
I'll go ahead and lead it off. So my name's Justin Dilts. I am owner, CEO of Elevated Outdoors, which is a marketing promotional company based in Pennsylvania. The creation of Elevated Outdoors and my inspiration behind it is to share my experiences and my fellow hunters' experiences that we have in the woods that other fellow hunters, other family members, other friends can't be there to experience with us. And we want to try to bring that to the table through videos, photography, promotion of products, videos, promotional audio stuff, kind of like these podcasts, stuff like that, anything to get our names, the companies, the products, and everything that we use to love and experience the outdoors the way we do and bring it to you guys and help other companies do the same. With that being said, along the way, I made a great relationship and a great business partner and Mr. Jay Wiedman. He's been helping me out so much with my inspiration and my goals with Elevated Outdoors. Jay, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Well, first of all, I'm Jay Wiedman. I am Justin's buddy of a couple years now. Since I think the first time I talked to Justin about this, I think I was on the toilet. I talked to him and I said there was just so much more we could do, so much more people we could reach, the audience we could reach. My background, technology and stuff like that. I figured I can get reach to. Hopefully, our goal was just a couple thousand people, and we're this month. We're projected to hit 4,000 followers in just, I think, 3 months of having the page up.
Yep.
Oh, page up and running like full on.
Yeah, it was there
every day. It was there before I came along. Now we have pro staff, we have partnerships. Unlimited opportunities. It's unreal. I don't work. This is basically like my full-time job. I quit working. I go to school full-time, and I do this full-time with it. So, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, back when I first started getting the idea of setting up a couple different things online and really starting to push some promotional stuff and get out there. Of course, I had a lot of help from my father. He helped me out a lot with the legal parts of the business stuff. And I had started a page called Pennsylvania Outdoors to kind of get a database to establish hunters, fishermen, anybody that had anything to do with the outdoors. Duck hunters, that's Jay's specialty in the waterfowl department as well. He brought that. He started that in Elevated Outdoors. When Pennsylvania Outdoors, when I first got that group page on Facebook started, Jay come along with me pretty directly. He actually reached out to me and asked me if I was looking for anybody to help with the page and run the page and whatnot. And of course, I didn't know Jay at all. It's just somebody that got accepted to the page, and he reached out to me, and me and Jay hit it off immediately with Pennsylvania Outdoors. And again, that took off. Jay, out of how many followers we got on Pennsylvania Outdoors now? I think it's
Pennsylvania Outdoors. We're pushing almost 5,000.
Yep. And
Elevated, we're at about 4,000 now.
Yeah, we're supposed to be doing a giveaway once we hit 4 as well. But what I want to say is, so me and Jay had a lot of experience and a lot of experience off of Pennsylvania Outdoors before he even reached out to me to get involved with Elevated Outdoors. I mean, I worked with him for the last 3.5, 4 years with Pennsylvania Outdoors. And then Jay really showed interest to get involved with Elevated Outdoors. And when he did, like I said, he brought on some pro staff, a lot of good partnerships with Quack Attack being one of the big ones, the biggest right now, with other bigger ones and other stuff, huge things coming on. So when Jay come on board with Elevated Outdoors, that really, really took off. And he's been doing an amazing job. What has it been, 4 months maybe now that you've been really involved in?
4 months with Elevated, yeah.
Yeah, so, and our goals and our aspirations and our thoughts on not only hunting and life in general, but business with Elevated Outdoors and the other business adventures that Jay has going on, we're a lot alike. Jay and I, so almost, well, I shouldn't say almost because it's true. Me and Jay haven't even met in person yet, but we still, our dealings together are amazing. So we're always looking for partnerships. We're always looking for experiences posted on our page. Again, Pennsylvania Outdoors group Facebook page. Make sure you check it out, follow it, get involved on there. Make sure you check out Elevated Outdoors on Facebook and Instagram as well. And also, Jay, go ahead and tell me a little bit about what you got going on with your calls and stuff, man.
Yeah, so I started a little side hustle down here, a little basement operation. Quackhead Custom Calls. I mean, Julius, you know about that. Justin, you know about that. I started this for fun because I didn't want to pay $150 for another duck call. That buying online, I mean, I don't get to test it myself and know how it sounds. So I bought all the machinery and tools, and I mean, when I tell you this took off overnight, I mean the following that has occurred, like with our partnerships with Elevated and Danger Zone Waterfowl, who involved in the both of Elevated and Quackhead, are super big followers, and they put our names out there quite a bit. They were our first, my Quackhead's first partnership. Quack Attack was Elevated's first partnership. Just those two, it's unbelievable the people that we've reached. But it's
well, I mean,
it's going good.
That's exactly what Elevated Outdoors is. I mean, that's what we're about. And that's why, Jay going forward, with his business, we'll always be partners. I mean, that's, no matter what. And actually, me and Dad were just talking about that on the phone, Jay, before I got on with you guys too. Yeah, I mean, so I know, Julius, you asked, a couple simple questions, and we just took you around the loop probably about 10 times there, because we both like to talk. So you brought the right kind of people on the podcast. But
not to cut the stuff off. We have a surprise partner joining in on us. So here in a couple minutes.
Okay. Yeah, that's what when I talked to Jay, learning a little bit about y'all and everything, y'all kind of got the same concept of what, I'm from South Louisiana, but y'all are being from Pennsylvania, but same concept of what I want to do. It's outdoors. You want to be able to like evolve in what you're doing and educate people also, but like you want to be educated at the same time from people and working together, because it's like this is one of those like I talk about it in the fishing world all the time. There's enough assholes in it. You don't need to add to it. And that's what cracks me up with people, because it's like I've seen some of the levels, like the highest levels of fishing. Some of those guys are the greatest, coolest dudes you'll meet. Like I had KJ Queen on a podcast with me the other day. 25 years old, most humble, like down to earth, dude you'll meet. You get guys that fish like, a Tuesday night tournament, and they think they're God. Like, and I hate to put it that way, and it's like, come on, man. Like, we're all in this together. Like, without me buying my license, without Joe Bob doing his part, like, you can't have any of what we do and have, because it takes everybody working together for conservation and keep the money in the system, keep it going.
100%. And Pennsylvania's been real bad on that side too. I mean, the youth in the outdoor world in PA is struggling. That's something that Elevated Outdoors and I know Jay and I both have put forward that we want to get involved in as well. We're talking, bow shoots, for the kids, any kind of ways, hunts for the kids. We can do, we do giveaways quite often. As we grow, the giveaways are going to get better. And we'd love, even some fishing derbies for the kids, stuff like that, to get them more involved. Because kind of like what I was talking to you about, Julius, there before we were on the air, about the family side of it and how I grew up and that stuff. I see in my state, and I don't, Jay can probably relate in some way on this, maybe not as intense, but there's not very many young people around here hunting anymore.
No, but I want to take a minute, introduce our partner here. This is Matt with Danger Zone Waterfowl. They run a sweet operation guiding vets and kids out on waterfowl hunts.
Cool.
My biggest ambassador for the brand, by far, super big helper with Elevated and Clackhead. Overall, him and his wife run a tight ship with good social media following, they got me going pretty quick. So yeah, Matt, introduce yourself.
So I'm Matt Novitsky, half of the Danger Zone Waterfowl crew. I guess like Jay said, my wife runs the other half. She does a lot of the social media posts, a lot of our dog posts. But our big thing is getting kids, first-time hunters, and especially veterans out in the field experiencing waterfowl. This year, I'm lucky enough to also head our local chapter of NEPA Delta Waterfowl. We were able to hook up with Camp Freedom, and now we do a lot of veteran hunts with them as well as a lot of our local veterans. So this year alone, I think I did 15 first hunts for youth and just anybody, and about 9 or 10 veteran hunts. So we do a lot.
That's awesome. That's
very awesome.
You don't see that, like the outreach in any of that world, and like it should be, like we were talking about, like kids getting into the outdoors, and myself being from South Louisiana, like we have a lot of people outdoors all the time. But before we came on air, we were talking about like just the way some states do stuff. Ours has decided this year, starting when they start selling the license this year, that even kids under 16 have to pay for a license now. It's only $5, but it's the point of, like,
it's just pushing people away.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're 5 years old, and like my sons are 9 and 7. Now to take them in the woods, they have to have a $5 license. But I mean, I'd already bought them their lifetime, so they're good. I have my lifetime, they have their lifetime, but it's like anybody that wants to go now, no matter the age, is required to pay for a license. It's like when you're charging a kid that's 6 years old $5 for a license, your state's got a problem. And that's I'm not trying to go way south on this podcast like that, but it's that's another big issue you have of like getting people into the outdoors when it's when you're charging kids to go, you're
making it harder.
Yeah, you're pushing away.
To go back to what you were saying about being in it together for conservation and and not wanting any more assholes in the fishing industry, when you put it in that example, to give you to kind of put you in the world that Pennsylvania's in when it comes to that, because that's exactly what Elevated Outdoors, like the goal is to bring people together where you can share your stories about hunting, fishing, anything outside. But because I saw a thing with Facebook that a lot of times that's not wanted in a lot of places. People don't want to talk about that or hear about that kind of stuff, especially when you talk about, shooting animals.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much fishing. But anyways, so yes, that was an idea and a goal. I mean, like I said, as a marketing and promotional company, I mean, that is you hit the nail on the head when you said, because I see it here, and here's what I see of. So a couple years ago, my dad, first day of bow season, went out to go to a tree stand that we've had on a piece of ground for years. Well, the bottom half section of it was missing. Okay, the bottom half section of it was missing because there was several. I mean, there's nice bucks up there, and the word got out. And the people that come up there and hunted, of course, you're always welcome. We want others out there. You make friends in that way, and that's how we keep this alive. But when you get people that start to steal stuff because they're going after, don't get me wrong, I like to hunt big bucks, but I'm not going to steal your stuff for it. And whenever you start to see that kind of stuff going on, this guy ain't in it no more together. I mean, it's competitive. There's always going to be competitive in anything you do. Me and my buddies all the time talk crap about that 6 point that you shot when I shot that nice 8, right? Remember that year? Everybody wants to talk crap to each other about it. But there's a line, and when you get people out there doing that kind of stuff, like you said, that ain't helping conservation. It ain't helping getting people in the woods. It ain't helping, just like it isn't helping raising the cost to get 5-year-olds and 7-year-olds out on the water to go fishing.
Exactly.
Pennsylvania's lost its ways, I think, a little bit too, with the whole. Just in general.
In short, the overall goal is for the next generation. I mean, bringing up the next generation. I mean, that's how my grandfather raised me. He didn't have to be pulling the trigger. It was showing us how to pull the trigger.
Yeah, it's like we talked about, like teaching and learning and everything. Matt, y'all do a lot from like guided hunts with y'all train y'all's own dogs and everything. Like, where am I?
Yeah, so we are fortunate enough that we have friends in the dog training industry. Like my wife, she's a teacher full time, but in the summers she goes and works at the dog trainer, and she does like basic obedience with the dogs and all sorts of stuff, mostly like hunting labs and stuff like that. As far as like what I do in the outdoor with kids, I try to run my Delta waterfowl chapter as close to a guided hunt as you can get. I'm not going to just stick kids out in the woods and pray to God something shows up. And we make it fun. Yeah. And I think that, like they said, Pennsylvania lost its way a little bit, making them pay for the license. But they at least this year have come to their senses and expanded opportunities. So originally with their mentored youth license, that 12 and under, you could only shoot a deer. And if you wanted to shoot a doe, I would have to sign my doe license over to the youth. Now a youth can hunt waterfowl, a federal regulated thing, as a mentor. They could shoot a turkey and they can hunt small game. So, like for me, I don't really deer hunt. I almost quit hunting altogether because I just had piss poor experiences due to poor management, and waterfowl is now my outlet. Like Jay just came over my house the other day, and he's like, "Dude, is this literally all you do?" I'm like, "This is what I do. 7 days a week. This is all I do."
My wife asked me the other day about duck hunting and waterfowl and everything. She's like, "Why don't you do it?" And I'm like, "Because everybody does it. You either hate it or you're truly addicted to it." I was like, "You think I spend a crap ton of time fishing and hunting now? Add that to the mix." I was like, "It will." I was like, "It will."
Money too. Waterfowl. You were talking some pennies when you're waterfowl.
Yeah. And it's like, I was like, you look at all the stuff I use fishing, and you're like, do you need all that? I'm like, waterfowl's worse. Like, I was like,
and I on that because I used to fish on my college team, so my wife knows all the money that I went into that.
Yep.
Fishing, and you're traveling all over the place.
Yep.
Now you have a garage full of fishing stuff, plus another garage full of waterfowl stuff. It's like.
Yeah, and it's that's what I told her. I was like, I don't think you want me to get into like the waterfowl hunting because like it's gonna be just another like bottomless pit of stuff because like it's hunting. You're
Matt, what would you say like for the podcast to say, if you want to start by yourself, you got a good public land spot, you want to go to the river, I'd say in all honesty, you're looking at, I'd say a minimum. You're looking at $4,000 to get started, just to start. And that's on the low end, I would say.
And you know what? And that's a big thing that I try to mitigate. So, like, on a lot of my first time hunts, if I see an interest or they like, oh, I love this, I want to do it some more, I actually have donors lined up with old decoys, old calls, just to get kids started. Like, for example, this year I have a kid. It's my boss's kid. He calls me every weekend during waterfowl season. Can we go? Can we go? Can we go? And I hooked him up this year with a whole rig of floating geese and a whole rig of mallards, just so him and his dad can go. So, like my biggest takeaway for people trying to get started is make friends with someone who's already into it. Don't go blowing, like Jay said, $2,000 to $3,000 to get started, and you're not going to know if you're going to like it or not.
Exactly. And that's what the buddy I was telling you about earlier, Brant. He was like that. We were talking about. He's like so and so, duck hunts. Another guy that he knows. He's like, he's like, I've been wanting to go. He's like, you want to go with him? I was like, yeah, we'll go one day. And he's like, and he's like, that way we see if we like it before we spend a bunch of money. He's like, because I don't. He's like, there's so many dang decoys out there. I don't know which decoy to get. Like, and I'm laughing at him. I was like, dude,
Right.
I was like, it becomes consuming. Like, it will just take over, like you said, and everything. It's like, and so Jay, y'all your calls and everything like that plays into with what Matt does and everything. Just and
Oh yeah, I mean, granted, I mean, our wives work for the same organization. I'd say, teaching program, early Head Start. So I started making calls, and then I saw her posting like waterfowl pictures, so I sent her a picture of some calls. I was like, anybody in the industry, let them know I'm starting up. Well, then she said, started talking about how her and her husband, which is with Matt, obviously, run a guide service, basically, Danger Zone Waterfowl. And I was like, well, what would you guys say, kind of linking up and partnering, and I'll make all your calls specific down to like the engraving on the band. I put the initials of their guide service on the bands of all the calls. In exchange, we both get each other's name out there.
Yeah.
And it has been taken. I had to start an Instagram page because I had 100 people asking me to start. Matt, 4 days I hit 150 followers in 4 or 5 days, something like that.
We put sound files up his second day, and they already had over almost 1,000 views on just the sound files alone.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's I have a couple pro staff for Quackhead. We have a bunch of pro staff for Elevated. Elevated is kind of like the mothership to this whole thing. Elevated oversees Quackhead. It oversees everything. So, okay. I mean, Quackhead is just like my baby. Yep. Elevated is Justin's baby. We just kind of groomed it together to take on both major hunting strategies, like waterfowl, big game. That's all we do. Waterfowl, big game. We do a little bit of fishing stuff, but between the three of us that are on here right now, I mean, we have close to 15, 16, maybe 17,000 followers. So I mean, we reach a lot of people with what we do.
Looking to do more too.
Yeah.
As I said, I'm getting some more time here, especially summertime coming up and whatnot. I'd love to get a bow shoot together or something before the end of this summer, going into the fall for everybody. So, we got some goals. I've been putting some lists together. I still work full time, and I know Jay has a hard time sometimes getting a hold of me, and he does a very, very good job of doing a lot of work himself. Thankfully, I thank him for that. He's been doing amazing. So that's so I mean, he's exactly right. I mean, this partnership is strong now, and we're going to make it even stronger and bring in even more great people like Matt. my experience working with Matt is limited. I actually just learned a ton about him right here on this podcast about him, and that right there tells me. No, I mean that right there already tells me we're gonna be, we're gonna be awesome together. And to touch base with that too, Dad and I was just on the phone with Dad too. Jay, we're gonna be coming out here soon to have a meeting. So I'd love for Matt to join us as well. And yeah.
Our overall goal for Matt this year is to shoot one of these guys.
Yeah, well, you can make that happen. Part of that too. Yeah.
We're getting Matt one of those this year.
And also this here, Julius. Hopefully we didn't talk too much, and you'll have us back, several more times.
Oh, definitely, man. Y'all fine.
Yeah, cool. I'm enjoying this, and that's we've actually been talking about kind of starting up our own little thing. But I'll tell you what, you keep us busy enough, man. We'll just,
Hey, y'all welcome. Y'all welcome anytime. Jay has my phone number. Y'all more than welcome to it also. Yeah, and it's like I said, because I want to. What I'm trying to build here too is just like when I first put my idea together. Like you're talking about, like when y'all first got together on yours.
Yep.
I had the idea of like the company, and we actually designed. I designed a deer feed, and I was actually probably 3 sheets to the wind when I actually designed the deer feed, and wrote it all out on like a bar napkin, and made it, and went to testing it, and it worked and everything. And one of my buddies was over here with me, and Steven, and he'll probably come on. He's supposed to be coming on one to talk about how the name come up, and the flauge being spelled Flauge. The U was just something he threw in there. I don't know what he was doing, because like we got an argument. I'm like, it's spelled wrong, and he's like, no, it's not. Like he really thought he spelled it right, so we just left it. And but he wanted to design a camouflage, and he never really could go with it. And it was like that was his idea, and we threw the name together, and like this was 2011, 12, and like everybody was kind of involved, just went their own way. And I had it really growing, and went through, and at that same time frame we had it growing. I went through a divorce, and just stepped away from the whole company, and nobody else wanted it. Like they just everybody, and it's like we talked about, Jay. Like a lot of people see like they want the outcome, but they don't want to put the work in to get there.
They don't want to put the work in at all.
At all. That's how.
Me and Justin have grinded. Day one, grind. There's times me and Justin are on the phone, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, what could we reach people like Matt, get Matt involved? It's one thing for me to say, hey, Matt, I'll give you these calls. But who's to know Matt's not just taking some BS product. Mm-hmm. Like, trying to reach some people and getting partnerships with them. That's
the feedback. You got to have the feedback to do stuff.
You need feedback. What's reputation without feedback? Yeah. That's your backbone.
Exactly.
That's creative for me. Matt and his wife. I was so stoked that when we had our first get together there. Matt got me involved with our chapter of Delta Waterfowl. I was just part of our first meeting there last night, which is awesome. That's this hat I'm wearing here, Delta Waterfowl.
Yeah, can I get one of them?
I don't think Matt heard you.
Well,
I collect hats just like most outdoorsmen. So I'll take it.
Justin, we're actually having a crawfish boil cornhole tournament here in the summer.
Hold on, y'all have crawfish?
Oh yeah, not just Louisiana's like that kind of stuff.
That's poor man lobster.
Right, but and you actually called them crawfish. Like I was expecting like crayfish or something from y'all, man. Like no.
It wasn't.
We get them overnighted right from you guys.
Y'all overnight, like that's what I was curious. Like if y'all had them up there, or y'all like how y'all get them. That was the.
Oh yeah.
We have them, but not in abundance.
What's the price run up there, like for y'all to be able to get them?
So we for us to order them from Louisiana overnighted to our door, we were looking in the neighborhood 120 pounds is $1,000.
Okay, that's not crazy. Like we my wife is from Shreveport, which is I pick at her all the time and then tell her it's just East Texas, and that's fighting words to people from Shreveport apparently. But like I laugh at them, like her whole family, all of them, like you get them already, like you can buy them live or boiled, whatever, and it's like they'll go somewhere and they're get them boiled and they're paying like $7.99 a pound for boiled crawfish and they're excited. I'm like, dude, boiled crawfish down here starts at like $4.50. Like
Yeah.
it's like live
they're paying $4.39 a pound.
Yeah, we're paying for like right now boiled crawfish are run about $4.50 boiled live, because I deal with a shop right here by my house. He is literally like 3 minutes from me, if that, and his live is probably $2.80 something a pound right now, and like once Easter hits, the prices just plummet, and so like and it's like and that'll be a 38 to 42 pound sack. You'll buy them after Easter for $45 a sack down here live. So 3 sacks would cost, $100 and $150. But it's like I like the it's like wasn't expecting y'all to be talking about crawfish. That was just that's what caught me by surprise.
Do you eat the guts of your crawfish or just the tail?
All I eat's the tail. I'm not
Yeah. You don't eat the green meat.
No. Then like you do.
I don't know. Should I?
I wouldn't, but that's just. And it depends on how well you purge them and all that. Like that's a whole. We could have a whole podcast. Like
purging is the biggest thing.
Yep. How well you clean them. Like
you let them sit in water. You let them sit in water, and you go out. Hours later, and you look at that water.
It's nasty.
It's like black.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
You get your salt out in your water and you purge the mess out of them, like, and then it's like, man, like the poor dudes are over here, like, you're pouring salt on them with them alive, submerging them in it, then you throw them in like boiling water. It's like, man, we better shut up about that on a podcast. We might get shut down, but like,
but definitely on Facebook,
right?
Animal cruelty. People will be right.
Oh man, we're gonna be in trouble. But yeah, it's like, and that's what we all joke about down here. It's like, who was the first person to be like, man, I'm gonna eat that bug, like.
Oh man. No, we eat them up here.
Coming in, man. Like I did years in the army. I mean, there really ain't much that I won't eat.
Right.
Just because I has legs and pinchers ain't gonna stop me from chewing on them. I eat a lot worse.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like, and okay, y'all like talking about like weird things. Bobcat.
Yeah.
Have y'all tried bobcat?
I have not tried it.
It actually, a guy that I did a podcast with last night, we met about 5 years ago hunting public land, and he was like, man, if you ever eat bobcat, you'll eat that over deer. And I'm like, okay, Hunter, whatever. Like, so mess around. He kills a bobcat. He's like, here, try it. And I'm looking at it, and it literally looked like the backstrap literally looked like a pork loin. It's like this pretty white meat. And I'm like, man, he's screwing with me. It had this really sweet flavor to it and everything. The front shoulders and rear quarters and front shoulders look like big chicken thighs. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, but the backstrap was amazing. I'll give him that. He like kind of skillet fried it like you would a pork chop. And I'm like, he was right. But it's like, because out west they eat cougar and everything. Like when they go cougar hunting, they'll kill them and eat them, and everybody talks about how good it is. And I'm like, he's like, bobcat's the same thing.
That's a big thing that I'm sure all 4 of us here. Like, if I'm going to shoot something like this.
Yeah.
Or like that, I'm not going to shoot it and not eat it. I'm going to eat everything I kill.
Hey,
everything
what's that deer have on his head?
That's a Matthews hat. If you want to know a real bow brand, that's a Matthews hat.
Oh, okay.
You're going to get into that. Now, huh? So what? All right. Obviously, you're a Matthews fan. What do you shoot, Justin?
I shoot Hoyt.
Okay. And you don't hunt deer. You don't deer hunt, huh, Matt?
I do a little bit, but I'm not huge into it.
I'll
go out with the Orange Army and shoot a doe on the first day, and that's good enough for me.
That's fair enough. That's what I shoot. Go ahead.
I don't shoot Hoyt by choice. It's just what I ended up with.
I shoot a Bowtech and a bear. Like
I got original Fred Bear bow that I started with. I still like to shoot that more than I do my new Hoyt, actually.
I have my 2 compounds, and my wife's like, why do you have 2 compound bows? I'm like, okay, like, one of the main places I bow hunt's 4 hours from my house. I'm like, if I get up there in my compound, something goes wrong, there's no bow shop. Like the closest bow shop's 2 hours from where I'm hunting at. I was like,
that's
I had
good.
to, so I carry both, and she's like,
why
only
why
you.
does the cow got so many others? I mean, that's,
You know, it's like I've been fortunate.
I mean, I want as many guns or bows as I want.
Yeah, it's like I've been fortunate. I've never had an issue with either one of them, but it's like that one time I just carried one, I'll have something go wrong. And then it's like you know, I go up there, I'm 4 hours from home, and I'm planning on spending a week. You know, what am I gonna do? Twiddle my thumbs? But
I'm gonna have to remember. I'm gonna have to remember that, dude. 'Cause that's a good one. You know, that's a good one. So that one sounds like a good one for when I get asked that question here.
Yeah, you gotta have two. It's like gotta have two of everything.
I got a which I don't know what the laws are down there. I just got a crossbow this year.
Everybody can shoot a crossbow down here. I actually, you know, those Facebook groups that you can like buy like $25 for this number or whatever. I'm in one of those groups. I won
Don't
on a 30.
Not mention the
Don't say the word.
Yeah, I got for a $32. I got a it was a Titan M1.
Okay.
$8.99 is what they run retail, and I bought one spot for $32 and won it. I've never shot it. Like
got it.
it's like because I'm not a crossbow person.
You know what kind of pushed me to move to kind of crossbow. I tend to find myself to be more of a mobile hunter. And the compound, you know, being on the ground and move around, I've missed some opportunities.
You can't shoot the compound from the ground very well.
Yeah, and also filming.
Shot him from the ground with a compound.
Well, that's
impressive.
Something to be proud of. Yeah, that's something to be proud of for sure.
I also shot my last buck this past year from the ground with a compound. I only bow hunt from the ground.
Awesome. What is y'all's like primitive weapon down here is anything with an exposed hammer larger than 35 caliber. What is y'all's? Still black powder or?
For rifle season?
Well, see, we have our regular rifle season, which is, you know, like your normal rifle calibers, 30-06, 270, whatever.
Yeah.
Then we have
black powder and inline are two different seasons.
See, we have what they call primitive weapon, and it's an exposed as long as it's a single shot with an exposed hammer, which means it can be a 12 gauge, a 16 gauge, a 20 gauge. And
there's no shotgun.
It could be, and it has to be on a rifle. It has to be a 35 caliber or larger. So like a 35 Whelen, a 35 Remington, a 44, a 444, 45-70. Yeah, that's our primitive weapons. I'm like, it's not very primitive.
God, they would decimate the whole deer herd in PA if they had that season up here. Holy.
It's like we get and like here you get 6 deer a year per person.
Yeah,
and it's like. It's like we laugh about it because
don't start giving Pennsylvania ideas because we're already the largest hunter per square mile ratio in the United States.
Right, it's like I laugh because I'm like, okay, it's like you get 6 tags, and it's like, I mean, you really don't need to shoot 6 deer. Like, I mean, that's a lot. It's like, but it's like you have 6 tags, and it's like, like I hunt a lot of public land. I can start hunting public land the 3rd weekend of September with my bow and hunt all the way to the 15th of February, like 153 days. And every day of it, even on state land, if I bounce around right, is either sex. But it's like the private land, what's crazy, like right here where I live at my house, our private land, like the club I was in, the interstate separated the club. On one side of the interstate, it had doe days. So like you had one, you know, like this Saturday and Sunday you could kill a doe, but no other time. Across the interstate, every day was doe day. And I'm like, and I had to stand on each side, and I'm like, and that's the rules. Like it's really, then it's like.
Well, you know, you talk about rules, and here's one. I'm sure this will get, you know, it depends on, you know, what these fellas think over here. I'm pretty sure Jay probably before it, but. Here's one thing Pennsylvania still has not let go of that they still do here. That is no Sunday hunting up here, bud.
Yeah. I've heard that they were trying to, like, take that out.
But not only that, okay, let me ask you this.
They're going for it. They're trying to expand that whole thing.
But why is it so hard to just do it? They should have just done it. There's no reason to try out a couple days out of the year and see if people like it.
Well, it's like
you know, that's just how Pennsylvania is, though. So let me ask you this, Julius.
Go ahead.
Do you still have, are all your tags still, like, tags? You got to fill them out in person and everything?
Okay, this year was the first. They changed a bunch of stuff. Like now, like if you go to the store to buy your license, it is straight up printed on like 8x11 paper now. And so like the little long strip. Then your tags are the same way. So you're supposed to take scissors or your knife and cut that tag out. That's paper, and put on the deer. Or I can take my phone, go to their app, and log it in that way. And it's like, you know, like.
So I went out of state a couple of years ago to Maryland to hunt. I didn't even have to stop at a store to even get my license. I did it all online. It was right on my phone. Never sent me any tags. I never had tags, right? I go down there, and if you did harvest, which we did not, but you did the same thing, you reported it on your phone. If you got stopped, as long as you had your phone and showed them, you were good to go. And I'm like, Pennsylvania is in the Stone Age. I mean, we're still using, even the computers they use to make the tags. And then, I mean, let's not even talk about the fact you can't even write on them.
we just changed from that this year. Like, this was our first year, and what was funny, you should hear everybody complain about it. Like,
oh, I know.
Everybody, look, they would be so happy with the way Pennsylvania is, because, like, down here, like, when they switched it to, like I just said, they were like, oh, no, we can't do this. Like, this is not, like, they fought it. And it's like, and it's like you said, with Sunday hunting, and it's like, we're fortunate we can hunt, you know, like I said, deer season down here lasts, if you move around right, 153 days. I mean, it's a lot of deer hunting. Then it's like they were trying to.
What is going on there?
They they reintroduced the black bear back to Louisiana several years back, which and
doing good.
If you want to call it good, I mean there's a lot, and one of the senators tried it like last week. I was reading the article. He's like, hey, he proposed a bear hunting season. Wildlife and Fisheries is like, well, even if it passes, we can't have a bear season. They're like, why? Well, we're in a lawsuit because this whatever group says we lied about how many bear we have. Said we doubled the number. So it's like, so even if you pass it for a lottery draw, we still can't have it because there's a lawsuit going on.
Yeah.
Okay. So, that's just, I mean, like I said, we could do a whole, you could do a whole series on just, like, crazy stuff that you see and do. And it's like, but, so it's, like, going back to the elevated outdoors, it's pretty much, you know, you had a brainchild and Jay's took it and helped develop it. Then you got Matt doing everything Matt does within the world he's in. It's just, the three of y'all is just kind of, you know, rolled together and it gelled together pretty well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and that's the same way. Like I said, we're always looking, you know, for people that like to be involved. You know, kind of like yourself. We like teaming up with you. This is a lot of fun. Look forward to more. You come up with some good topics like we were talking about. We'll do a segment on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you
it's like that's what.
Oh,
you can go down a rabbit hole real quick on like different things. And it's like
especially with fellas like us.
It's like you said, like Pennsylvania has its own thing. It's like several of the states didn't allow hunting on Sunday, and they've opened it back up, and it's like it's just weird when you look at every state, the different little laws they have. And it's like we're overran with, you know, feral hogs, just like Texas and Florida.
Yep.
You know, well in Louisiana, you can only hunt them on private property year round. On state land, you can only hunt them in whatever, and you're actually not supposed to hunt them per se. But if one comes across, you can kill it only with the weapon that is in season. So if you're out squirrel hunting, you know, small game hunting, and you're using a .22 rifle or whatever, or you know, a shotgun or whatever. You know, you're turkey hunting, you can use your turkey load. And it's like, you shoot a 200-pound pissed off pig with a .22 and see what happens. Like, you're going to be shooting it several times. Or you're going to be running while you're, like, getting away from it. But it's like, you know, it's like, but, and they wanted to come up with this idea of how to poison the hogs, but it wouldn't hurt any other animal.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
Yeah, like, that we could get on, and then you get into that, you could get on a whole other thing with CWD. Don't even get me started there. But, you know, so
yeah, that's the gist of everything. I mean, you got it. I mean, by spending this, you know, this amount of time with us, I mean, you pretty much you've understood, kind of how Elevated Outdoors has come to where it is now, where the idea originally come from. And then you definitely see the partnerships that we have going on and the ability we have to make partnerships and make friends and have these kind of conversations. And, when we get all down into it, when we talk about keeping people involved in conservation and that kind of stuff, this is the kind of stuff that these younger folk that aren't involved in this stuff that are going to miss out on. And right now we're doing it over the internet, but if we weren't doing it over the internet, we'd be doing it at our camp, somebody's camp.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Drink a couple beers just like we're doing now, sitting down to dinner, talking about the same stuff, and you don't get that unless you get out and you get involved. That's,
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So
Matt, you grew up just, always in the duck, the waterfowl hunting, or?
Actually, it's funny you say that. My family, not a single one of us water. I was a deer hunter at 12 years old, like everyone else in my family. At like 15, I just didn't. I was falling out of it. Like I said, poor management practices. Didn't see a lot of deer. Hunted a bunch of different areas. Like my dad was notorious for walking a mile and a half into the woods, away from everybody. We're not going to see anybody. It's going to be quiet. Sit there all day. I didn't like that. Then I had friends go, "Why don't you come duck hunting with us on a Thanksgiving?" Shot one duck, and that's the end of it. It's been my life ever since that.
That is all it takes.
That one time. But yeah, that's what.
And that's the biggest thing with me doing these youth and veteran and first time hunts, to instill that one time.
Mm-hmm.
One time, okay, you have a flock of 50 geese come flying down on your head. That one time, that one moment is going to be like, I want to do this all the time.
Well, yeah, and it's like there's something they'll remember no matter what, and it's like some of them never, like you said, it's the first time they've never been to it, and it's like it's something that's going to stick with them, and it's like,
yeah.
And it may be, that one good moment may be something they hadn't had before that changes their outlook on stuff and everything. And it's like you said earlier, and you said then, 12 is y'all state has a law on that. You have to be like 12 to deer hunt. Or I know Michigan used to or something, but I didn't know if Pennsylvania did.
When I started, it was strictly 12. Now they have that mentored youth that you guys were talking about earlier. You still got, I think it was like $3 or $4. I don't remember, but now, like I said, instead of just the mentored youth being able to deer hunt, they're allowed almost as much pool as a regular license holder.
See, down here it's we didn't shut down school. Like, they didn't give us a holiday, but I mean, I skipped every opening day of deer season, and then I'd skip a lot of times to go fishing. Like, we were talking about school the other night with my wife. I'm like, dude, we can miss 10 days a year without getting in trouble. I took my 10 sick days. I was like, I treated it like a job. I took off. I took a Friday off. I was going fishing or hunting. And she's like, that's not how you do it. I'm like, yeah, that's how you do it. And they laugh. But it's like, like, it's amazing. Like, ours, like, it's a lot more open to, like, when, like, I mean, you say, if you look at pictures down here, you got like 5-year-olds killing their first deer, and like, this is the first year they're like, when this season starts back, it's the first year they're gonna have to buy a license for the kid. But it's like, you take somebody from down here that, and like, I look at a lot of the different states with their laws and their rules, and I'm like, man, we're fortunate down here that it's the way it is. Our biggest issue we have is, like I told Jay, because when we got talking about like bird hunting the other day and everything, it's like, you gotta be careful where you go down here on the water, because we have private water. Like,
yeah, Matt, they could own the ground underneath the canals down in Louisiana.
And
that's correct.
If I'll have to find
no trespassing signs in the water.
Oh, they'll gate it, dude. They'll put a gate across it, and like, no. And it's like, I'll find the picture and send it to you. It might take me a day or two. A buddy of mine posted it on Facebook yesterday, and he had a Google Earth map, and he's like, this is all the gate. They were down in an area we call Bayou Black, which is out of Gibson, Louisiana, and they were driving around, and he was labeling the gates. Like, he's like, gate, and like, you get this map, right? And it's like 30 little, pins he dropped that says gate. All this used to be open, and it's like, you go fish, like say we go down there and it's March of this year. We fish. Next year in March we tried to go down there. That canal we fished this year, it might be private now. You know, like they just decided the Bayou Black Marina where they launch. The guy that had run it, that family's had it open for like 30 years, right? Last year, another company bought the land that it's on because it was leased from an oil company, and he had his business there for like 30 years. The new company was like, yeah, we're not going to renew your lease. 30 years. He talked them into it, and they let him do it. They do 1-year things with him instead of like a 5-year or 10-year lease or whatever. Every year he has to go back and be like, hey, can I lease it again? It's been there for well over 30 years. But when that new company bought it, nah, it's private now. Wait, what? And that's the problem we have. Like, you have something that, like I said, it's been owned for 100 years by one company, and somebody else buys it. Well, they decide it's gonna be private, even though you've been your whole life, you've been on it. But oh no, it's private now because I'm running it. And it's like so that makes a big difference in the way our stuff's ran. We're way more fortunate in like the deer the hunting world itself.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like that, you're like, how is it? How do you own the land that's under, which makes the water private? Okay, and that'll get you.
If you can get to the river, I mean, there's like a leeway off the river.
Yeah, legally they're supposed to be, but that's not in South Louisiana, man. That's everywhere else in the world. It doesn't work down here. But yeah, it's like that's that, and it's like you said, we I mean, I could keep going forever because I'm enjoying this, but I think we're gonna start bringing it down, and because it's what 5:30, almost 6 o'clock where y'all at, and so and I think my wife just got home with the kids. I hear somebody's in the house. I hope it's them.
Yep.
So start bringing this down. Like you said, we kind of got a gist of everything y'all do. I definitely have y'all back anytime, and love to talk to y'all more and pick your brains about the hunting, the ducks, the dogs, the duck calls, like everything. So
well, make sure I'm on that one because I need to learn stuff about that too.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna have them. I gotta gotta learn how it all works.
Yeah, because like I said, Jay's heading up that. I mean, Elevated Outdoors. Of course, we always promote and want to see involvement in anything outside. It doesn't matter what it is, fishing, hunting, anything. Bow hunting.
The way Elevated Outdoors as we see it now, the way that we see Elevated now, that is like our content. That is where we take the content and just
anything.
Skyrocket.
Yeah.
But the content comes from, our pro staff, Justin, me and Matt. Now, me and Matt, I can't even think of the content that Matt and I are going to make this upcoming season waterfowl-wise. It is going to be ridiculous.
And that's the same way.
Between the two of us and the properties and the equipment and, the partnerships and the people that we have on board, it is going to be limitless in the content that just flows through Elevated. It's going to be on all of our Instagrams and stuff, but to reach 10,000 people in one click of a button, Elevated's the place to put it.
Yeah, that's you just hit on a big thing right there. Like 20 years ago, 5 years ago, it wasn't as easy to get to people. It's gotten and like get your message out, and it's like whatever now anything. It doesn't matter what the message is. There's a platform to put it on now, and it's like we use we use what we're using to put a positive message out about the outdoors, because like you said, like Matt's emphasized, like the people at the first time, it's a big thing, and it's like if you don't have them in there, then you're not growing it to have the next generation.
I was actually exactly the same spot Matt was when I was growing up hunting. I fell out at deer hunting for several years because of the same thing. You want to talk about different states and stuff, and Matt said it a couple times, poor management. Getting youth into deer hunting. Now I'm saying deer hunting. I mean, in turkey too, because those are two that I'm into. I don't duck hunt, so I don't know much like Matt's talking about with that side of it. But I know deer-wise, you get a young boy out in the woods and he's sitting there for 9-10 hours for 3 or 4 days in a row and not seeing anything at all. They ain't gonna want to do it.
Some manhood when you're sitting. I mean, it's just telling me if I've been out 4 4 days in a row and don't see anything for 10 hours, I'm gonna be like, you know what, I'm sleeping in the next morning.
Right. No, for sure. I mean, that's, and, you know, so, and don't get me wrong, that's kind of, you know, when we talked about the bow hunting and stuff, Julius, when I was telling you earlier before we were live there, I was telling you about rifle hunting, growing up rifle hunting. One of the reasons why I got so much into bow hunting and why I'm so in love with bow hunting is because the time of year and how comfortable it is to actually hunt. And you know, I think that's a great way to get youth started in the deer hunting is bow hunting. You know, but again, going back to what I was kind of going on to was the management piece and getting kids involved in Pennsylvania, because that's exactly what it is. It's, you don't see enough and you don't hunt enough, you know, areas that have the population up there. There's big woods in Pennsylvania, and it is hard deer hunting up here. And turkey's incredibly hard if you don't have private land. Now I know there's
deer and turkey. Pennsylvania is the hardest state by far.
I mean, speaking of turkey hunting,
yeah.
Jay, do you make any turkey calls?
The only reason that I told Matt this, I think we're getting pretty tuned up at his house, but we were I believe I told him we have a local call shop at a Lock Haven, which isn't too far from us. The thing is, you know, I know my calls sound good. I know my calls will perform, you know, as long as I got the right user like Matt, who does all my sound files. My calls sound good. Turkey calls around here, I mean, I have a very good friend at Top Calls who owns Top Calls. I don't know if you ever heard of Top Calls. Out of Renovo, PA.
I'm gonna look them up.
Hands down, turkey calls. If you don't know them, check them out. Top Calls. Triple Toe is local, more local than Top Calls. They made waterfowl calls. They got big. Matt said they got big into turkey calls, right, Matt? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, they're big. Like Jay said though, like the reason why he hasn't looked into turkey calls is there are a dime a dozen up here. Everybody's making turkey calls. The duck calls and the goose calls are not as
prevalent.
It's truly a skill to be able to tune and have everything down like that.
The reason I was asking, like for turkey hunting, I use a wing bone call, and I make my own with that, and like you can get a different pitch out of it where you set that bone in the other bone and how you do it, and it's like I do wing bone calls just for myself to play around with, and I'll have like 3 or 4, and they all make a different sound, and it's like and it's like I got a cousin that's actually won like the turkey calling championships before, and I'll take him to him and be like, hey, you know, which one's the best? Like, you know, he'll do it, and he'll be like, all right, we'll set them in this range, and like you can take those other 3, adjust them to whatever that first one was, you know, that good one, and they'll all sound close, you know, pretty close, but you know the bones are a little different on each one, so it makes a different sound. But that's what I was curious, like if you messed with that any, just because like that's not, you know, that's kind of more of like a niche market. Like there's not a lot of people that mess with making the wing bone collar. And when you do find them, they're...
So my next go-to is I'm actually starting a prototype here next week is grunt calls for deer season.
Nice.
That is my next go-to. I know there's always a market for grunt calls. But the duck calls alone, I mean, you can ask Matt. I mean, I donated four last night to Delta Waterfowl. I made my favorite call. Made my favorite call that I've ever made before, and I swore to my wife that I was gonna keep it. And you know, I sold it to Matt's good friend. The people. What's that?
Jay, how many? I blew that call one time at that meeting. How many did you sell right after I blew that call?
He blew that call at the meeting. I took 3 orders, 4 calls left, and then my favorite call, my signature call, I was calling it. A lady walked right to her purse, grabbed cash, put it in my hand, took the call right out of my hand.
That's, you know, That's
But her husband is the dog trainer that we are associated with. Matt more so than me. But I messaged him that night when I got home. I was like, I just want you to know that call was built with blood, sweat, and tears. You know that's a one-off. That call ain't getting made for fun anymore.
Yeah. All right. Well, like I said, we're gonna bring it down. I appreciate y'all being on. Um, look forward to more times talking to y'all and keep an eye on what y'all are doing and just picking y'all's ear on some other stuff and everything. I mean, I'm about to look through some stuff. I'm pretty sure I got a bunch of questions for you, for all of y'all, and because I like to learn more about what's going on everywhere else. Because like you said, like some of y'all stuff's way different than ours, and y'all heard ours. And like you said with crawfish with y'all, that surprised me. But yeah, I mean, crawfish bowl is always a good time. But
but
cornhole,
that's good. Too. We'll get your stuff up here up north. And you start, throwing our names and our faces and our voices around down there, and we'll keep this partnership, this thing going on, this friendship going on, and definitely get together again. And I appreciate your time, man. Thanks for having us on.
Sounds good. I appreciate y'all.
One last thing to hit on is I'm super excited about is that Julius here. He fishes. What do you fish? Semi-pro?
I fished the ABA Opens, and I was gonna fish the Bass Opens this past year. And what was crazy, like I was 2 hours into the sign-up time before I could sign up. Right, signed up. I was number 98 on the waiting list. 225 people were already filled in, and 98. So I didn't get to fish the Opens because there's no way to get in when you're that far out. So I'm hitting some of the FLW stuff and the ABA stuff this year. Which is
we are super excited. We came up with a deal. We're gonna have a decal on Julius's boat.
Okay, yeah, I'm still down for that.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it too, and it's like we definitely, and like I was telling you earlier before we went on the air, your Quack Attack stickers. I got a buddy that's wanting some of those, and the Quack Kid. Sorry.
As we're talking about this stuff, you got any Delta Flog merchandise?
Yeah, I have some hats. I've got some shirts, and that's what I was telling Jay before we started. We're working on getting the back glass decals and everything. We can do koozies. Okay. My wife has. I was telling Jay before we got started. I'm like, what is this? What is this? Like all these machines around here, and she's like, oh, I can do this. I can do that. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So she's gonna be taking care of all the merchandise and stuff, and I'll get that. Cool. Like I said, this is one of my hat, like one of the hat. There we go. One of the designs. I like that. And just something simple. Then that's anything I have some shirts that we do monogram stuff on, and I have some other stuff that we do like the T-shirt, the heat press setup on that where we can do stuff, and just working into getting more merchandise out because I built a most people have I developed my deer feed. That's what started this whole thing, the Cajun Blend deer feed, and because it's virtually hog proof, which is crazy. If I knew exactly what kept hogs from eating it, I would just market that side of it and be a millionaire, hand over fist. But not sure what exactly they don't like about it. And but deer love it. It's like crack to them. They'll eat a hole in the ground. You can put it on a stump. They'll chew on the stump. It's just crazy what they do. And it's like, I developed that. I use it on our private property, and I think I feed almost 2,000 pounds a year on our private property, and where we hunt at for my little boys. But I mainly hunt public land, so I don't even use my feed. And everybody's like, you developed a feed, but you hunt public land. I'm like, I like to hunt the public land because it's you got to know how to hunt. You're not just going to go there, you get lucky, but it's like you got to look for stuff, and that's why. And it's like I use my feed if I'm in a hunting club or whatever, but I put it out because, feeding is a big thing. And,
you guys allowed to have in-season feed out?
Yes, it may change because they found CWD in one parish this year.
We're gonna go down that hole here, bud.
Oh yeah.
Start
yeah, we'll do a whole episode on that if y'all like because
let's not get into CWD.
No, let's do that one. Let's get together on another episode because I can. Sure. Yeah, we'll go on that because that's going to be one of those things that just it's never ending. But that's where we're at. And like I said, like I'm glad you brought that up about the partnership with the stickers. You know, the decals on the boat. I'm looking forward to that. Super excited about it. And let's I appreciate y'all coming on and love to have y'all again.
Yep, looking forward to more, Julius. Appreciate it, man.
Thank y'all.
Jay, Matt.